In the midnight hour, she cries, more, more, more. Well, all right, Billy, we'll give you some more with this brand new episode of Totally 80s and 90s Recall. Welcome back to the studio. If you're new to this show, it's sweet that you found us. And for our returning listeners, it's great to have you back. Well, if you love all things 80s and 90s, from music and movies to television and pop culture, then this is the podcast for you. I am one of your hosts, David, joined as always by my rockin' bro, Rob.
You caught me on my heels with the bro. But
it's too much bro culture? All right.
Whatever. I feel the need. Yeah. The need for speed.
That's too easy. I thought you were going to do like ones that made it difficult to figure them out.
No, I figured you'd get that one.
Okay, so, I feel the need for speed.
Top Gun 86. You got
to do that. Yeah. I mean, if someone doesn't answer that, it'd be upsetting.
Yeah.
Especially if they were a 80s or 90s type person.
You wouldn't even have to necessarily need to know that. You just knew that.
Could just come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, the need for speed is a relevant thing, but on this podcast, Rob and I will travel back to the 2 decades that shaped not only our lives, but influenced the world for generations that followed. Each episode, we will develop and discuss lists of selected topics, or perhaps identify a significant event, movie, or whatever we recall from growing up in the 80s and 90s, providing some awesome memories, fun, and nostalgia along the way. With all that, Rob, what topic will we be covering for this broed out episode?
So dumb. We are looking at the our favorite songs of 1984.
And stress our favorite songs. Yes. There are so many songs in 1984.
Yeah, we were talking pre-production, and there's a lot.
I know tons of 80s songs, and until I start getting into these lists, I never always know exactly what year they come out. And then I start looking at a year like 84, and I'm like, I don't even know where to begin sometimes. Like, where am I getting 10 songs from?
Yeah, really, I don't think this is an overstated word, but it's a pivotal year in music entertainment. Like lots happened. In this year.
So before we jump to the music, 1984.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Do we remember anything about 1984?
No, all I have in my notes is I would have been 7.
7.
And MTV was kind of the driver of entertainment right there. So for me, and that's what I mean pivotal in the sense that this was when the visual aspect of music really took hold.
Taking off.
So then, the fashion and what music looked like and style and, big hair and things that were appealing visually.
Yeah.
So that's 84 is when that really started to happen for me.
84, yeah. I don't remember much from a child standpoint.
No.
Same thing. I'm like 7, 8 years old, so probably 8 years old at that point. I can't recall too much. So a lot of these songs I remember listening to in the 80s, and I don't know if it was exactly 84, but I do remember hearing them during that time.
Yeah.
Whether it was with babysitters or whoever it may have been. But I will say, I'm not kidding. I had 100 songs I could have chose from
easy.
here. And there are just so many good ones. Putting 10 together was... We may need to do a part 2 on 1984 to do it justice, because there's too many songs. Like, it was so hard to pin down. I guarantee someone's going to listen to this and go, how did you leave that off? How did you leave that off? I didn't want to leave any of them off, but it was tough.
I don't think this is giving a lot away, but just to give people some context, the top albums of 84 in order: Born in the USA, Springsteen, 30 million copies; Legend, which was Marley, 28 million; Purple Rain, 25 million copies; Like a Virgin, Madonna, 21 million copies; Reckless, Bryan Adams, 12 million copies; Van Halen's 1984, almost over 11.5 million; and then the Footloose soundtrack, 11.5. So
I heard there we have Van Halen, huge.
Yeah, I mean,
Footloose,
all those are
huge.
Yeah,
Madonna, Prince. And you had to squeak Bryan Adams in there.
Springsteen,
is that right?
Springsteen, Madonna, Van Halen.
I hear you glossing right over that, but I saw you squeak Bryan Adams in there. Amongst all those heavy hitters, this Bruce Springsteen, you got the Boss, you got
he's
Madonna.
He's an 80s legend.
Yeah, he's something. Yeah. So, well, apparently it was a good year for him. So good for Bryan Adams. Hopefully that just tells me we can look forward to some BA on Rob's list.
I cannot confirm,
nor
or deny those
which
allegations.
means I already know the answer. We'll just have to see how high up or how down low that fool appears. All right. So, well, all right, dudes, let's head on over to the mall, hit up Sparrow for a slice, and listen to some great music from 1984.
Hey, it's Rob. As much fun as Dave and I have bringing you this podcast, we also like to introduce and feature independent podcasters like ourselves. Friends of the show, Sean and Eric, have an 80s and 90s throwback podcast that we think you'll really enjoy called Toys Were Us. So sit back and enjoy this trailer for a great nostalgic podcast.
Are you a child of the 80s or 90s? Do you remember the toys that made your childhood unforgettable? Then join us for a trip down memory lane with our new podcast, Toys Were Us, co-hosted by two friends who have been playing with toys for over 30 years. We will explore the iconic and not so well-known toys of these decades. From G.I. Joe to Transformers, Mask to WWF, we'll share our personal stories and opinions on what made these toys so special. Tune in to and subscribe to Toys Were Us wherever you get your podcasts and relive the magic of your childhood.
Well, let's hear it for the boy, with that boy being you, Rob, and rock us with your number 10, unless it's Bryan Adams.
Well, my number 10 is Out of Touch.
Ooh, good one.
By Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates. I'm Oats.
I like this song. I felt like we couldn't have an 84 list without some Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates. It's a really good song.
Yeah. So what I remember about that, why I have it in here is, so this is Out of Touch, July of 84. Interesting fact. They don't like being called Hall & Oates.
They want to be Daryl Hall.
Yes,
and John Oates.
Their official name is Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Ah,
they do not like Hall & Oates.
They do not like it.
This was on the their last Hot 100 number one single, which I thought was kind of different. They had it was their 14th consecutive top 40 between 80 and 84.
No.
They found themselves in the top 40 with 29 of their 33 singles, charting on the Billboard 100. So here's some of their songs: "Rich Girl," "Kiss on My List," "Private Eyes," "I Can't Go For That," "Man Eater," "Out of Touch" is one of them. Yeah. So in an interview, I thought this was interesting. I think I relate to this working with you. It says, in an interview in a 1983 issue of Juke magazine, Oates was asked about whether conflicts arose. He replied that, quote, "We have our creative differences, but we reconcile them." He said that if they both come up with a different way of doing something, they'd try it both ways, and whatever sounded the better of the two, they would use.
So in this case, you're being Oates. Are you saying we have creative differences?
No, we don't have differences. But I like that we try things, and whatever works, it works. And so we have a good working relationship. Well, I appreciate that.
You're definitely Oates in this situation, so it's fine.
Is he the one with the mustache?
He is the one with the mustache.
Okay, I'll be Oates.
And the perm.
Yeah, I'll be Oates.
So you can be Oates.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
Okay,
and you can't go wrong with apparently Daryl Hall and John Oates.
They really want to be called.
So if they weren't called that, would they just walk out of the room?
I don't know.
I'm out of here.
But they remain the most successful duo of all time.
Wow.
Ahead of the Carpenters, the Everly Brothers, and Simon and Garfunkel.
Well, they're definitely the best of that group. So I will wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah. So
I like some John.
To get an 84 list in there, we had to have some.
Got to have some.
Daryl Hall.
Be careful.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're gonna when they listen to this, because I'm sure they're listening. When they listen to this, they're going to be upset.
What would you do if we got like a cease and desist from
Hall & Oates?
From Hall & Oates.
For not saying Daryl and John?
Open up that letter.
I think I would frame it and hang it on the wall and say Hall & Oates took the time to send me a letter of any kind. So, because if I track anywhere in their life, that's pretty amazing. So
we'll take that.
Yeah, well, good start. Well, my number 10, classic pop song, super catchy, great to sing along to, and it is called "I Can Dream About You" by Dan Hartman. Oh, it's really good. So I remember hearing this song a lot. right? Not in 84, but a lot after that. So released in April of 84, went to number 6 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100, a top 10 in 4 other countries, including number 3 in Australia. So no shock there that they're listening to good music. This is just a classic pop song to me. And when I hear this, I just think of the 80s. I think of being young. I think of being a kid, and I love it. You can sing along with it. Sounds good.
I actually had this on my list, and I pulled it.
Yeah?
Because it's a song I like now.
You like now?
But I don't remember.
You didn't like it then?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I
I don't remember it much, but now I hear it and I go,
I remember 8 or 9-year-old David just jumping on his bed, yelling, "I can dream about you." It seemed relevant, right? I think so.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
So stupid.
I understand. There may or may not have been a cape involved as well. So, well, what is your number 9?
All right, my number 9 is Wild Boys by Duran.
Is that? Yeah, this one's it's like more serious. I think.
It's not one of their like
poppy ones.
Yeah.
Sounds more rugged.
Yeah.
But I remember it.
Yeah.
I will say it's not my favorite Duran Duran song.
No.
But I definitely remember it.
Yeah. So this is Wild Boys. This is October of '84. To me, it's not an '80s list without some Duran Duran. They were they were everywhere in the '80s.
Oh yeah.
It's one of their highest charting singles. It peaked at number 1 or at number 2. It became the band's highest peaking single in Australia. I know how much you like.
I like the Australians. For all my Australian listeners, I approve of that.
Yeah, it's the 10th most streamed Duran Duran song in the UK. That's really specific, but the video had kind of a Mad Max feel to it. I remember. I rewatched it, and it makes less sense now. I don't know, but all the different band members are like kind of in different scenarios. So one is strapped to the roof of a car, and he's watching these like videos. It's kind of like some sort of torture where he's watching past life videos. One's caged in a pile of computer equipment. Another is put on in a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
One's bound to the front of a ship, and then Simon Le Bon, the lead singer, he's on this windmill that's spinning, and every time it goes around when he gets to the bottom, it goes down through the water, and there's eels in the water, and there's this robot head thing, and choreographed dancing, and I don't know. It was wacky.
Well, Duran was very big on music videos. They'd make them like mini movies or something.
Yeah, and that's what this one was. It was very much had a very cinematic feel to it, and kind of over the top.
Didn't they record something for Beyond Thunderdome or something like that?
Well, it felt like Thunderdome. Yeah, it felt exactly. So I made it. I probably grew up maybe in my mind too. I thought it was like part of the movie, but I rewatched it and I couldn't find anything. I think maybe just in my mind I associated the two. But
maybe. Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, so
solid Duran Duran.
Yeah.
You went with Hall & Oates, Duran Duran. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Daryl. Anyway, my number 9 is a song that probably gets played at every reunion, wedding, anywhere you could go, and that is "You Spin Me Round Like a Record" by Dead or Alive. Oh yeah, this is a classic. Use this in The Wedding Singer. That's how they open the movie. Yeah. So just a great classic. Sounds like the 80s. Got that nice synthesizer in the background. I like when they get in on that keyboard real well. Released 5 November 84, went to number 11 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. A top 10 in 12 other countries. Mm-hmm. Number 1 in 4 countries, including Switzerland. So good for the Swiss. Not neutral on that song at all. UK voted this song their number 17 favorite 80s number 1 hits.
Oh, wow.
So number 17 on that chart. I don't know how many that was out of, but they made it into the top 20, so that's probably pretty good.
This is Wedding Singer is where, if I had to do like an association.
Yeah, Wedding Singer.
Wedding Singer.
What you think of.
And the video was strange as well. He's spinning around.
Yeah, that's what the song is. I mean, he's doing exactly what he tells you he's going to do.
Golly.
Right?
Yeah, that is what he said he was going to do.
He said he was going to spin around like a record. There's another, when I hear the round like a record, the movie Office Space, that one dude that's talking to them, he says, she gets around, dude, like a record. Yeah. And he whistles.
That's the O-face guy.
Yeah, it's the O-face guy. So, all right. Well, that takes us to your number 8.
My number 8 already? Wow. Yeah. My number 8 is Little Leg Action from ZZ Top.
Great video. I didn't know who ZZ Top was until I saw that video.
Yeah, no. A lot of people did. But yeah, band formed actually in 1969.
Yep.
And they were a blues band, and you had Billy Gibbons and Frank Beard and Dusty Hill. And
did you say Frank Beard?
yeah. And or no, it wasn't Frank Beard. Yeah, it might have been.
You said Beard.
And,
They're big long beards.
Yeah, and one of them just passed away. And, but anyway, you had a nerdy girl working in a shoe store, and you got the nerdy fry cook across the street, and the fuzzy guitars, and they spun around.
Oh, yeah.
Synchronized spinning guitars is what I put here.
By the way, the girl was not nerdy.
No, she was.
First of all.
Yeah. Well, I guess she wasn't nerdy.
Was that a case where we took glasses off and she was just beautiful?
Well, then they turn. Yeah, then they. Yeah. So then the ZZ Top car pulls up. Which little side note, the ZZ Top car is called the Eliminator.
Nice.
It is now housed in the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a 1933 Ford Coupe. Awesome. Has suicide doors. But the car pulls up. These girls get out. They kind of give her a makeover. All the people that were treating her bad. Now that she's taken over. Yep. Did you know that ZZ Top was originally going to be called? They were originally going to call themselves ZZ King in honor of B.B. King.
Nice.
But they peaked at number. This song peaked at number 8. It's their highest charting single. And it was the third installment of a trilogy. The other two being "Gimme All Your Lovin'" and "Sharp Dressed Man," and it won the MTV Music Award for Best Video for a group in 1984.
Look at that.
So yeah, legs.
Come on. That was a strong MTV video. Lots of airplay on that one.
And what I read is that they had to kind of reinvent themselves, and the visual mode of video gave them an opportunity to kind of reinvent themselves.
Do you think the one guy just couldn't grow the beard, or because he just had the mustache and the perm or whatever?
I know he was.
He
he was the drummer.
The drummer,
and
he just had to be different or something. I think
so it's Frank. Frank's the one that just passed away.
I think he couldn't grow the beard. That's what happened right there. Sorry, man. So the other two, A+ beards, right? Like old man winter type beards, right there. So.
But yeah, I thought that was an iconic song, and the car was iconic, the group was iconic, the beard, the video. I mean, everything was kind of screams 80s, and that's when you would have saw what I would have saw on TV. And
So. Well, my number 8 is probably one of the best overall pop songs of the 1980s, in my opinion. It's been sampled a million times, and that is "Break My Stride" by Matthew Wilder.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Song is fantastic. So it's interesting. That song, I knew it forever, and then I finally watched the video, and the guy who sings it doesn't match what I hear on the radio.
Yeah, I couldn't even pull him up.
He's like 5'3", or he looks like he's like 5'3", 5'4". He's got a perm. He was wearing a half shirt in the video. I mean, it's just a whole thing. It's quite the vibe he's got going on there. But this reached number 5 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100, number 1 in Norway, by the way. So top 10 in 9 other countries. And fun fact about Mr. Matthew Wilder here, he was the producer of No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom album. Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, this has been sampled by Puff Daddy and several others since then, the Break My Stride. So this has been used lots and lots of times over and over, and it's just a very signature pop song in the 1980s.
Nope, that's a good pick. Yeah, I did. But, again, we could talk all day about the ones that we didn't pick. And
yeah, there's probably plenty of those.
There was a lot, so... All right, we are my number 7.
7.
My number 7 is also one that has been sampled a ton since it came out, but it is.
Oh yeah,
I Can't Drive.
You went with the Hagar.
55.
Nice. Is that? I mean, is that something you recognize? With I Can't Drive 55.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a leg foot.
I liked that song, and I liked Hagar when he was all by himself, but him and Van Halen is an abomination.
You didn't like it. You weren't a fan.
Oh, heck no. That was bad.
Yeah, that was one of those people either like it or love it or hate it.
Was that on Joe Dirt where he goes, "I like Van Halen, not Van Hagar."
But this song is in the national this song is in regards to, at the time, it was the national maximum speed law that set the speed at 55 miles an hour.
Oh, man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and it had something to do with the Energy Conservation Act, yada, yada, yada. And it remained in law until 1995. But the song peaked at number 26. It is the 100th song on VH1's 100 Greatest Hard Rock Songs.
So,
anyway.
Nice.
But yeah, Sammy Hagar, he's a race car driver in the video. Anyway, he's driving a black Ferrari.
Wait a minute. He's not an actual race car driver?
No.
Man.
He's driving a black Ferrari. Great lyrics. I tried my best illegal move. A big black and white come and crushed my groove again.
Yeah.
That was really good. He manhandles a cop. He gets cuffed, taken to court. There's a jury already. He's charged for resisting arrest. The judge displays a mini guillotine and demonstrates by cutting a cigar. It's awesome.
It guillotine or guillotine?
Would you say guillotine?
Are you
guillotine?
going tomato on that one?
Know. Potato, tomato.
That's
whatever.
fine. I got you.
Eventually, his pit crew jumps from the jury box. Riot ensues. He does this killer flip. He runs and he flips off the wall and catches the car, and then he jumps clean over the judge's bench. It's so good. Anyway, they get put in the jail. Synchronized dancing in the jail cell.
Put in the jail.
Knocks down the door and then drives off into the sunset. But it's still everywhere. You hear it on commercials. You hear it. But yeah.
I feel like they missed a movie here where Sammy Hagar's a race car driver and then grows up to be and then turns into a rock star and then ruins Van Halen. The whole plot they just had right there and they didn't do anything with it. So, that's good.
Yeah,
Cant Drive 55. I always felt like that was a song older people listen to, less a song that I listen to at my age and this time frame, because it just felt like something I'd hear at the Milwaukee Car Show or something like that.
Oh, sure. No. Yep.
Yeah. Whereas I wouldn't hear Break My Stride at the Milwaukee Car Show. So that would not, Matthew Wilder would not pop up. No. And my number 7 would not have popped up either. And that would have been, of course, Missing You by John Waite.
I also had that. And then I took it off.
I like a good ballad and I love a good love song. So can't. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And
this is a song that you'd like.
And when I was 7 or 8 years old, I could identify with this, heartbreak and missing something, right? Yeah. So,
right?
Oh, yeah. Tragically. The missing something was probably like I lost a toy under the couch and I couldn't find it.
Super relevant.
Singing about a He-Man toy or something. But this went number 1 in the U.S., Billboard Hot 100, number 1 in Canada, and number 1 in Ireland. So go Ireland.
The Irish.
Its worst performance was in Belgium, but it still reached number 19, so top 20 hit no matter what.
Wow.
As I said, love ballad, 80s, everything I need is here, checks every box, and this is just a song I love listening to still, and I remember listening to a lot at that time. So can't go wrong with the Missing You.
All right. Yeah, I had that one, and I removed it. I had too many choices.
Many choices.
My number 6 is
another race car driver.
It is not a race car driver, but it is. If this is it.
Huey Lewis.
Huey Lewis.
I remember this video.
Yeah.
They had their heads in the sand.
Yeah.
And they were bobbing them back and forth. Yeah, that's classic. I distinctly remember this video.
Oh, yeah.
I love Huey Lewis.
Yeah. Oh no. I don't. So I personally don't think they get enough love. But
no,
anyway.
they don't.
This song became their 5th top 10 and 3rd consecutive hit on the Billboard Hot 100 for them. So check out this lineup of songs: "Do You Believe in Love?"
Yep.
"Working for a Living," "Heart and Soul," "I Want a New Drug," "The Heart of Rock and Roll," "If This Is It," "Stuck with You," "Hip to Be Square," and "Doing It All for My Baby." They had 19 top 10 singles across various charts. Their music has been called blue-eyed soul, new wave, power pop, and roots rock. I didn't know that.
They're awesome. We just said they're awesome.
Yeah, I love
everything you just said. Tells
so
you
good.
how awesome they are.
The video. So the lead singer, he's trying to forget his ex, but he keeps singing around the beach.
Yeah.
Classic beach kind of scene, 80s bikinis and whatnot.
I noticed Huey didn't want to take his shirt off on the beach.
No, he didn't. He did. He kept his shirt on the whole time.
He did.
Beach in the summertime, phone booth on the beach, goes to a crystal ball reader, the head's in the sand. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I put the guy with the guitar, cigarette. There's one guy had big mutton chop and the cigarette. He always had him.
He always had him.
There's a shark, and then he's the last guy on the beach, and he hooks up with a different girl.
Good for him.
I think it's the ex's friend or something. Anyway.
I'm guessing if you're Huey Lewis, you're hooking up with a lot of girls.
Yeah.
So
And then he ends with a sand shark attacking a family.
Sand shark.
Sand shark. So there you go.
I didn't even know there were sand sharks.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was something to be scared of in the 80s. Hanging out at the beach, you get hit with a sand shark.
But again, I felt like an 84, kind of that mid 80s, list without a Huey Lewis song would be wrong.
Would be wrong.
So, yeah.
That would be a fail, is
Yep.
what it would be.
Absolutely.
Well, that's really good. My number 6 is from a band you already mentioned, but maybe a better song in my opinion, and that's Duran Duran with The Reflex.
I do like that one.
Yeah, it sounds a little more Duran Duran-ish to me.
Yep, that's a good one.
So this was their first song to go number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. Also went number 1 in Belgium and Ireland, the Netherlands, and the U.K., but not so good in France, where it only hit number 15. Still a top 20 hit, but again, the French stingy with their musical preferences. Stingy. What I remember about this song now is, I mean, it's iconic. Sounds like the 80s. But a couple years back, they made the movie American Wedding. And if you have seen that or not seen that. But anyway, they're going to look for a wedding dress, and they end up in a bar, and Stifler ends up doing a dance contest against another individual. And one of the main songs they play to dance to is The Reflex. So I always think of Stifler running around on the dance floor in his dance competition. Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears style.
Yeah.
For that. So Duran Duran, Reflex. Yeah. Good song.
No, I can't argue that. I think it's good. A Duran Duran song I think it has to be in your list. So
has to be.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where are we at? My number 5?
Number 5.
Wow, my number 5.
Like Johnny 5.
Oh, yeah. Not a good movie.
You do like it, though.
I do like it. I put it on my list.
You did.
There you go. All right, my number 5 is...
You did.
I did it.
Hot
for Teacher.
Hot for Teacher.
October 1984.
So while this plays, my number 5 is Hot for Teacher.
Shut up.
Van Halen, yeah.
Are you kidding?
No, absolutely not. I mean, how can you... I mean, the answer would have been that, I mean, Van Halen has to be on the list.
Yeah.
And a lot of people probably would have gone to Jump or Panama, right, in this case. But Hot for Teacher is it for me. So we both have the same number 5.
Yeah.
I've got this song only reached number 56 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. In Australia, it did real bad, only landing at number 89. So this isn't their highest charting song. But what I'll tell you for me about the song is, one, the video is fantastic, right? I mean, I watched the video, and I just assumed when I got to high school it was going to be like that. By the way, it was not, but I was hoping it would have been. You know, what's going on here? We got teachers in bikinis. You got lots of things going on. Nobody wants to go to class. There's all kinds of things happening. But, I mean, the reality is that must have been a formative song for me because I married a hot teacher. And so it matches with Van Halen's Hot for Teacher. So it must have been embedded into my brain early on as a youth. And now I'm living the dream. So I can thank Diamond Dave and the rest of the group for leading me in the right direction.
Okay. So. Okay. I mean, I'm okay. This one.
Why are you laughing? Because I married a hot teacher?
I want nothing to do with it.
Okay.
This was the final single released during the band's 74 to 85 era. I thought that was interesting. One thing, so if people haven't seen the video, there's a nerdy boy, Waldo.
Waldo.
And the mom's prepping him for, you know, and he goes, "Oh, Mom, you know I'm not like the other guys. I'm nervous and my socks are too loose."
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who did his voice?
I don't.
Phil Hartman.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't know
good.
that. Yeah,
I like it.
But then the video immediately kicks into, like, it is not. It's only a couple seconds in, and it's already striptease or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
great.
The phys ed teacher says phys ed across her sash.
You got to know what class you're in.
At one time, the band is dressed in red leader shoes and they're synchronized dancing under a crystal ball. I brought my pencil.
I love that part.
And then give me something to write on, man.
It's not even like parts they're singing. It's like they're just talking to each other in the background. It's funny.
And he goes, and then he goes, "Class dismissed." You know. So anyway, I just like the song.
Well, yeah,
it's
I like
actually
the
really
song
good. It opens with the drum.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
really good.
iconic kind of drum sound, and so
I like too at the end they do like a that thing where they put words on stage to tell you, or words on the screen to tell you what happened to them. Like it tells you David went off to do something.
Yeah, Alex became a gynecologist.
There you go.
Michael became a sumo wrestler.
By the way, Alex, It was he was the bassist, right?
Yeah. Michael becomes a sumo wrestler. Eddie is in a mental institution.
Sounds about right.
David becomes a
game show
host, and we think Waldo becomes a pimp.
We think so,
but we're not sure.
We're not sure.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you.
Well, we tied at number 5.
That's cool.
It's our first crossover.
Wow.
So there we go.
Same number.
Same
it's
number.
Happened a couple times.
Well, it happened. Yeah, that's where it ranks for what I have.
Wow, that's cool. All right. So now it's back to me, number 4.
Yeah, we'll flip it right over.
All right. So here we go.
Uh-oh.
I'm not even going to intro it. I'm just going to play it.
Oh, there it is. You know it's coming. Oh, yeah.
Brian Adams.
He's so raspy.
Yes.
Do you think he sings like that on purpose? Like, do you think he could sing clear and he chooses to go, I'm going to run to you?
I don't know.
So,
I don't know. So this is Run to You, October of 84. Little fun fact. It's a cheating song.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so it's sung from the perspective of a man who's he's talking to his mistress and he's saying, I'm going to run to you. But the video though, his mistress is his guitar.
Yes.
Very clever.
He's so profound. Brian.
Yeah, right. Peaked at number 6. One of the most successful songs. Here's some songs from that album, Run to You, Somebody, Heaven, Summer of 69, One Night, but here are some of his songs. I don't know if they're all from that one. Run to You, Somebody, Heaven, Summer of 69, One Night Love Affair, It's Only Love. Great songs.
Yeah.
He's one of the best-selling music artists of all time.
Nah, he's not.
All time. I'm telling you. It's estimated that he has sold between 75 million and more than 100 million records.
That's because Canada's kicking in on those numbers.
Oh,
that's not all. That's not all America.
Oh, you were asking about his voice. Here's a description of his voice: sandpaper tenor.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Cross between Joe Cocker and Bruce Springsteen. Oh, this is my favorite. He's been referred to as the Groover from Vancouver.
That's awful. Whoever coined that should be fired. If that's a writer, should have his, his credentials revoked.
Yeah, and I will openly admit I got that off of Wikipedia, so it's very possible somebody just added
that.
that.
Yeah, that's good. That makes sense.
But the Groover from Vancouver. Yeah. Come on.
So, if there was a celebrity death match, remember that from MTV in the 90s? Yeah, celebrity death match. Steve Winwood would rip Brian Adams' arms right out of their sockets. So,
let's see. I have to read these. So here's some of his accomplishments: 20 Juno Awards, which is like the Canadian Grammy. 56 Juno nominations.
Grammy.
15 Grammy nominations. Grammy for Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, 1992.
I know.
Yep. Nominated for 3 times for an Academy Award. 5 Golden Globe Awards. I could keep going on. I got tons. He's a photographer.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, in 2023, he was nominated for the induction into the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Way too much Brian
Anyway,
Adams.
So Brian Adams.
I know Brian Adams.
Yeah. You might have heard of him.
You can sell him all you want. It's still Brian Adams, right? Like putting lipstick on a pig.
No, he's got
a lot of
Groover from Vancouver.
I can never hear that again, and I'll be more than happy. So, well, we'll go ahead and roll away from the Groover, and we're going to go to a band and song that you already mentioned. You just had them way too low on the countdown, and that is Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Well, you didn't.
With Out of Touch.
You did the same song?
Same song. I mean, this is pretty quintessential 80s sounding to me.
Because I struggled. There was a couple songs they had.
There were, but this is my favorite.
Yes.
So you know what? Cease and desist be damned. Hall & Oates, for me, are a pretty, iconic 80s situation. Great band. This went to number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100.
Wow, yeah.
Just did okay success-wise in other countries. Did its best in Canada, getting to number 4. But, you can't go wrong with Hall & Oates. My favorite thing later was on Saturday Night Live. Chris Kattan was dressed like him, and they were doing like the behind the music. Yeah. And he just, every time they interview him, he goes, I'm Oates.
I'm Oates.
Daryl Hall would have all these like profound things to say, and he'd just go, I'm Oates. So, you can say what you want about it, and they're both pivotal to the band. But if you're just watching from the outside, Oates does just look like I'm here to play the guitar and stand behind you type of thing. So, but he made a lot of money with doing that. And I'm sure he got a lot of fall off of the girls that Daryl Hall didn't want. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, the video was fun to watch. Very 80s. Everything's oversized drums.
Yeah, love it.
They're inside of a drum. And Daryl Hall's dancing is
next level.
It's phenomenal.
Oh yeah. He was a 80s icon. He had good hair too.
Yeah. He wasn't the groover from Vancouver.
He was not. Right. We'll have to think of a good nickname for him.
All right.
Not something horrible like that.
Okay. My number 3 is and this probably should be higher, but I'm gonna go.
I went with the U2.
I did.
Wow.
I did.
Yeah, the U2. Bono.
The Edge.
From one pretentious...
it's not the Edge. It's just Edge.
Yeah.
Take the.
From one pretentious individual yourself to another, Bono.
Yeah.
It's very heady.
Yeah, this is a kind of a heady
Very
song,
heady.
right?
Oh, yeah.
This is September of '84. I'm going to admit something that I guess I never associated this with Martin Luther King. Did you?
I have not.
Okay. So apparently this was written as a tribute to Martin Luther King.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
Nice.
Now that I listen to it, I'm
Makes
like,
sense.
oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
But man, it is on a lot of people's like 500 greatest songs of all time, and it's really high. It's like Rolling Stone ranked it 378 out of 500. Then it was 388. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame considers it one of the 500 songs that shaped rock and roll.
Jeez.
I mean, it is. The Spin magazine named it 65th greatest single in history.
Wow.
I don't know. I guess the story behind it is it was inspired by an exhibit, an MLK exhibit when they were in Chicago in '83.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of it's speaking about those throughout history. So, for example, MLK, Jesus Christ, who have died because they preached of the equality of all men and practiced nonviolence as the only way to achieve their goal of having this equality universally recognized. So, and then
that sounds like such a reason
it
U2 would write
like,
a song.
Yes, right.
Bono just poring over those details to write out this great song.
Yeah. So it's a good song.
It's a good song. That's not my favorite U2 song, but it's a good one.
And I'm not
a big U2 guy.
No.
No.
Are you?
I'm not.
No, I think it's kind of like when you said, my sister was listening to a previous episode and you made a comment about not liking Dances with Wolves.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, that did not sit well.
No, too bad.
There are people out there that are like, what?
What?
But so I think U2's the same way. I think people will go, what? You don't like U2? I mean, just woof.
I mean, I don't mind U2. I'm just not going to listen to a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, and look, if people want to sit through 9 hours of Kevin Costner wandering around on a horse looking for a wolf, knock yourself out. I think it's terrible.
I don't think that's the plot.
Oh, it's the plot. There is no plot.
9 hours.
Just Costner walking around grunting a a bit. Yeah. So it's.
But I'm not a Costner fan, so I said that, right?
Yeah, you can stay away from that.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
well, that's solid. U2. Yeah, you can't have an '80s list not have U2. If they're available, you probably need to choose them. Well, my number 3 does not have the accolades that U2 does, and I don't know if the artist is as pretentious as Bono, but it is 99 Left Balloons by Nina.
That's a fun one.
Oh yeah, this is as 80s. This is as 80s as it gets right here. And I have selected the German-speaking version.
I was just gonna say, this is all German.
Yeah, which is the only version you should listen to. Classic 80s song. They released an English version in the U.S. in '84, and it bombed. It didn't even hit the charts. Didn't even get on the Hot 100. Then they released the German version, and it went to number 2. And it was number 1 in 10 other countries, including, no surprise for you, Rob, West Germany.
Oh.
And again, for our young listeners out there, West Germany was the second half of what is now just Germany, as it was split in 2 parts after World War II. And in the 80s, it was still in 2 parts. So that's a weird map if you go back and look at it. So, but this song, actually, it's kind of it sounds fun and poppy, but it's kind of a war protest type song. But when I was a kid, I just liked singing along to it. And I tried to emulate some of the German words, not knowing what any of them were. So, and of course, she didn't like the translation they did into English because it sounds like nonsense. But in German, it makes more sense. So it didn't translate well. So.
Because I didn't realize that was a kind of a quasi protest song.
It is.
Huh?
But the beat they put to
always
it,
so
and
fun.
the way they sing it, you would just think it's like a club pop hit, right?
Interesting.
So-
I have another song coming up that I think similar conversation.
Uh-oh.
Are we at my number 2 already?
Number 2.
Wow. All right, my number 2 is and you're gonna give me grief for this one.
Grief? Is it more Bryan Adams?
But no,
You went with The Boss.
I did. I went with
Yeah.
The Boss.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's on every 80s list.
I think so. I'm not even gonna play the rest. Everybody just knows that so angry.
So here's probably where my displeasure with Bryan Adams comes sometimes, and with Bruce, is that singing style. I mean, that all-time raspiness is not always that appealing to me. So that's my. It's not that it's not a good song. I just sometimes listening to them over and over can be a little much. But that's an iconic 80s song. It's popular as anything else. So expected.
Yeah. So some things about this song that I didn't know. It's very patriotic. I mean, it's got the flags and it's got the small town factories and but I didn't realize that this was kind of an anti-American song.
Oh no, it is 100%. In fact, so Ronald Reagan used this song when he was doing his re-election campaign, and everyone was like, because they just played the Born in the USA part, and everybody keys on that, not understanding that the lyrics are exactly what you just said, the opposite of that. So. Because if you go dive into some of the actual lyrics, they don't match up with the Born in the USA part. So.
No, and I actually wrote that down. It said that people would use it. The song is widely misunderstood. It was used at rallies, campaigns, blah blah blah. But it's kind of a mocking. It depicts the difficulties and marginalization of returning working class Vietnam vets had to face.
Yep.
100%. It's like on everybody's top list. It's one of the best selling albums of all time, and But anyway, that's one that Springsteen. That whole album was. I mean, there's umpteen. How many number ones came off of that album? It was like anyway. But produced 7 top 10 singles. Yeah, so
that is a lot.
Yeah,
so I'll give him that. Still not even the stats that old BA had, though. Bryan Adams.
Oh, no.
You didn't have nearly as many stats as you did for your boy right there.
Well, Bryan Adams.
We got something going there. Yeah. So my number 2, no one mistaked for anything, protest or otherwise. It is from Pat Benatar.
Oh.
Love is a Battlefield. You say you can't have an 80s list without some of those other ones. You can't have an 80s list without Pat Benatar.
No. And the video was great.
Oh, yeah. I would say, at least for the first half of I will say Madonna's the female singer of the 80s, of the whole 80s, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
But she didn't come in until 84. This is her big year. Madonna start to peak, 83, 84. Previous to that, I'd say the first half of the 90s, Pat Benatar. I mean, people did her style. They cut her hair they cut their hair like her. They wore their clothes like her. This was ranked number 30 by VH1 for greatest 80s songs, but only hit number 5 on the US Billboard Hot 100. However, Australia, Belgium, and the Netherlands all sent it to number 1, and she won a Grammy for this song in 1985.
Yeah.
To me, Pat Benatar is 80s personified. The outfits she wore, the short hairdo, her sound, everything is just as 80s as it can be. So this is a no-brainer for me.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good one. If I remember right, wasn't she like a runaway or something in the video? Or it's kind of a youth anthem kind of thing, like a little rebellion.
It is. Right? She had a few songs like that.
That's kind of an 80s thing. That's kind of to be
to
a rebel against.
She did want to rebel. That's the 80s. They were tough. We had to rebel.
They were hard times.
Never was this more true. But before we reveal our number ones, let's head to the cut line. As we put our list together, we often find it very difficult, particularly in this case, to rank just 10 in each category. So for this segment, we will each identify 2 songs that just fell out of our top 10. We will also identify an honorable mention, which is a song we missed the first time around, but found sometime later and really liked. And so, Rob, through all of your pre-production and research, what is your first cut?
All right, my first cut is probably not his most popular one, but it is Prince. I Would Die For You.
Oh, yeah. You had a lot to choose from, and then you went with that one.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
I don't love everything all Prince.
No.
But this one's not too bad.
No, not bad.
Little Red Corvette and some of those are those I get tired of those ones.
True.
This one's not too bad.
But this reached number 8. It's from the Purple Rain album, considered one of the greatest albums of all time.
It is.
Just from that album in 84. So you were saying earlier, like there's too many songs to pick from 84. Let's just talk just Prince 84.
I know.
When Doves Cry, Let's Go Crazy, Purple Rain, and I Would Die For You. Those all came out in 84.
Yeah. And you probably picked the fifth least popular one.
That's what I mean.
Group.
Of those,
Yeah.
I mean, but I like this one. I like this one.
No, it's good.
It's written by Prince himself. What I found interesting, I guess I had never listened to the lyrics a ton, was that it's got a very spiritual bend to it. So, I would die for you. He talks about being your Messiah. He says, I'm your Messiah and you're the reason why. He says, you're just a sinner. I'm not a human. I'm a dove. I'm your conscience. I am love. See?
Maybe he had a God complex.
That's possible.
He had a big ego after all. So.
That is true. Like Champagne Supernova. What is the meaning of Purple Rain?
I don't know.
I'll tell
We're
you.
going that far.
Prince explained that the meaning of Purple Rain as follows. Here's his quote. When there's blood in the sky, red and blue equals purple. So Purple Rain pertains to the end of the world and being with the one you love and letting your faith or God guide you through the purple rain.
All right.
Did that make any sense to you?
Sounds good.
Nope.
Makes more sense than Champagne Supernova.
And then there's a whole thing about, I did not realize this, but he used a lot of pseudonyms when he wrote songs.
Yeah.
So Joey Coco.
Oh.
Yeah. Wrote for Kenny Rogers. Alexander Nevermind was another name he went by. Just Christopher. He wrote Manic Monday. Did you know that? By the Bengals?
That's
Didn't
good.
know that. Jamie Starr and the Star Company.
He wrote lots of songs, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Morris Day and the Time. Jungle Love.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
That was actually in my cuts, but then I discovered that he wrote it.
I love that song.
And then this was one that the instrument. He played all of his instruments on. This is a little different on Morris Day and the Time, but what I found out is that the guy that plays the keyboard, that's Dr. Fink.
Nice.
Who performed dressed as in surgical mask and scrubs. But anyway,
okay.
So that's my first cut.
That's good. Yeah, got Prince again. You've gone with all the iconic Van Halen's.
Yeah, because that's
good.
That's what I knew.
There. Yeah,
right? That's what I knew.
I knew those too. Well, mine again does not have the accolades that Prince has. It is Scandal singing Warrior.
No,
Warrior.
This is deserving.
Funny story. For years, I thought this was Pat Benatar.
Okay,
and it's not.
I thought the same thing.
It sounds just like a Pat Benatar song, and I forever thought it was definitely her, and it turns out not her at all. Yeah, this is just a great song. I've always loved it. I will admit what I just admitted. It's not her. It actually features Patti Smythe.
Yeah.
So I was way off there.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all in the ballpark. Hit number 7 in the U.S. and number 11 in South Africa.
Wow.
So good for that.
Wow. Yeah, I had that on my list as well, and I pulled it. But
man.
Yeah, I did. I also did not know that was not Pat Benatar.
Not Pat Benatar.
I think I just always
for years I just thought it was her. Sounds just like her.
Shows you what we know.
But maybe my listening ear was not as good as I thought it was.
Yeah. All right, my cut number 2.
Cut number 2
is you're gonna like this one. Footloose.
You went with the Footloose.
I did go with the Footloose.
Yeah.
This is January of '84.
It's one of the most popular songs of the year.
Oh,
easy to go with.
Yeah. But yeah, we don't need to discuss the movie. Everybody kind of knows it, right?
Yeah.
A Footloose was also on the same soundtrack.
Just to drive a little drama when we do a list, which we will at some point, of overrated 80s movies, Footloose is going to go way up high. So
you think it's overrated?
Oh, it's awful.
Oh, I figured you'd like that.
Oh, no.
Oh, I thought maybe you'd like that. That seems like something you
Negative.
liked.
Absolutely not.
Let's Hear It for the Boy was also on that soundtrack.
It was.
It's also a song that could have been picked.
Yeah.
It got an Academy Award nomination for Best Music.
Yeah.
Golden Globe nomination. We can talk about the song, the movie, blah, blah, blah. Spent 3 weeks at number 1. Here's what I found interesting. Footloose is loosely based on a town of Elmore City in Oklahoma. But in 1981, Linden, a small town in Washington State, it's about 4 hours from us here. It's almost on the Canadian border.
Yeah.
Passed an ordinance that banned the practice of dancing at events and locations where alcohol would be served.
Oh.
So this incident received national attention, and the townsfolk over there kind of think maybe Footloose
It's based on
is
them.
based on them.
Oh, okay.
Because it happened only a couple years before Footloose.
I just thought it was a dumb idea, and apparently it really happened. Let's ban dancing.
I thought it was, but no, yeah.
Banning dancing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where alcohol would be served.
What are you going to do? Footloose. Yeah. Very relevant.
Yeah.
I didn't have Footloose, but
See,
I might save that.
I thought you would have had
I might save it for another day. I do love Kenny Loggins. I love all things Loggins most of the time. So, well, my second cut
Yep.
is by a band you already mentioned, Huey Lewis and the News, but a little different song, going with the heart of rock and roll.
Again, a lot of choices.
Yeah, I just really like this one.
Yeah.
It's a rockin' one.
Yep. Man, their greatest hits album is good.
It's really good.
You can just put that on and
I
let
love
it go.
that. I love that. I read the book. Of course, it's a famous movie now, but I read the book American Psycho. The Christian Bale movie now.
Yeah.
And they have a whole chapter because he talks about music, and he does it in the movie too about Huey Lewis and News, but they talk about sports. And it's literally an entire chapter talking about how great that album
That
is.
was a wacko book, man.
It's a wacko. Did you read it?
No, you remember you reading it.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember you
It's interesting.
It was scary to you.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on. They didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg for the movie. They couldn't.
No.
But this reached number 6 on the U.S. Billboard, only number 71 in Germany. So for the Germans, Huey is apparently no Hasselhoff. They don't give him the same accolades. This is a memorable song from my childhood. I remember at the end of the song, he starts naming cities that rock.
Yeah.
So I taped it, and I memorized all the cities. I wrote them down.
Detroit.
So I could sing along because I want to sing along. We were in Portland, Oregon, but sadly, closest he got was Seattle. So I guess the heart of rock and roll does not truly beat in Oregon with us.
That's all right.
I tried. I wanted Huey to come there in his song, and he skipped over us. Yeah. Seattle always gets the love over Portland. So
all the time.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
So, but what is your honorable mention?
Okay, my honorable mention fits, I think. So we talk about the honorable mention being a song that we found later in life, right? So this is a song called "The Old Man Down the Road."
The old man.
And it's John Fogerty.
Yeah, I know that. My dad, big CCR Fogerty fan.
Yeah, I found CCR later in life. My dad liked them. I always thought that was kind of silly.
You thought CCR was silly?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like old music. And
okay.
And then I started listening to it. I was like, oh man,
they're pretty good.
So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is he was the founder of Creedence Clearwater. They had 9 top 10 singles, 8 gold albums between 68 and 72. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Songs like Proud and Mary, Bad Moon Rising, Fortunate Son, Green River, Down in the Corner, Who'll Stop the Rain. This was Fogerty's only top 10 single as a solo artist. It peaked at number 10.
Yeah.
But then interesting, I was reading, he got sued. Somebody sued him, said it sounded too much like Run Through the Jungle.
Yeah.
And actually, when I listened to it, I'm like, yeah, it sounds
here's the thing.
lot alike. He won the lawsuit. Like he won. Then the guy that sued him had to pay back and kind of set a precedence in court stuff. But
isn't Run the Jungle? Who sang that song?
CCR.
That's the CCR.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
My thing is that I don't think it sounds like that. I just think his voice is the song.
Yeah.
And so you recognize it. So any beat close, you're like, you're copying that song.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So
he has a distinct voice.
Yeah. So I like that. I kind of like that style of music now.
And, that's a good one. Well, my honorable mention is awesome. Had I not found it later, this would have been on the top 10 easy. It is Sister Christian by Night Ranger.
Yeah. This is
so good.
You hadn't found that? That wasn't on your radar in 84?
No,
No?
Absolutely not. I love this song. So I'll tell you when I actually found this song. I didn't hear it the first time until I saw Boogie Nights. So in
Oh,
Boogie
okay.
Nights, when Mark Wahlberg goes to buy cocaine, basically, they
Mm-hmm.
end up in Alfred Molina's house. And this song is going off in there. Like, and it's the first time I ever heard it. I go, that is a really cool sounding song. Like, I had no idea what was going on. So, again, I didn't listen to a lot of rock and roll as a kid, outside of maybe some Van Halen, ZZ Top, whatever was on MTV. So I just never found it the first time. But maybe I wasn't the only one that found it, because in Australia, it only got to number 99 in their Billboard charts. So we were both initially missing out on that song. Hopefully they found it now, the Aussies. Hopefully you guys found it. But yeah, it's a cool scene in that movie. Boogie Nights is an awesome movie anyway. But I remember, hearing it and thinking, wow, that's a cool song. Like, and then I look in and go, 1984, where was I at on that one? Holy moly.
That's a good one. Yeah, that sounds like you.
That sounds like me.
You know. Well, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we are at our number ones.
Number ones.
Wow. So my number one, I think, is going to be a little obvious.
We always do. You went with Like a Virgin.
I did.
Perfect. I mean, yeah.
Like a Virgin.
It's like one of the most 80s songs you can find.
Right there, what you just said. It's one of the most 80s songs. So one description I read, it said, the song's lyrics are ambiguous, consisting of hidden innuendos and open to various interpretations. What was ambiguous?
I don't know.
And where were the hidden innuendos?
Yeah. No.
To me, it was
right out in front.
pretty straightforward.
Yep.
It was her first number one in the Billboard Hot 100. You got she's just going through the canals of Venice. She's roaming around a castle wearing a white wedding dress, very frilly and lacy. And
Well, that was the style. Then everyone copied. They had the dress. People used to draw the mole on. They'd wear 400 bracelets like she did. You know, all that.
Well, what's your phrase? A gratuitous Weird Al.
Here we go.
reference.
Everyone. Are you going to roll with Like a Surgeon?
Like a Surgeon. Yep. This is where she became a superstar. Like, this is 6 consecutive weeks at number one, number two on.
Wait a minute. Do you think Like a Virgin is where she became a superstar? Or are you
I
saying
do.
When Like a Surgeon came out, that cemented her superstardom?
I don't know. I did make the argument early on that kind of, you know, when it's the Weird Al
When he gets
effect,
a hold of
right?
it, that's when you made it.
This. Oh, I like this quote. It said, author Michael Campbell concluded that with the video, Madonna created, quote, the formula that would set the tone for her subsequent work, combining provocative, shocking, and controversial themes and images with bright, accessible music. And I kind of feel like that quote could be, she set the formula for kind of pop music.
Yeah, a lot of pop music.
After that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'd say that she set the formula for a lot of entertainment. So fashion, lots of controversial stuff from the song. So family organizations criticized it. It undermined family values. It promoted sex outside of marriage. Some wanted the song and video banned, which led me in this rabbit hole of the Filthy 15 list.
No.
I didn't know existed. It has been argued that Like a Virgin is one of the songs that should have been on that list, but it wasn't.
Oh.
And it was songs like, I'm going to just read some. These are awful. Judas Priest, Eat Me Alive. Motley Crue, Bastard. Prince was Darling Nikki. Sheena Easton's on there.
Oh.
Def Leppard, High and Dry. Twisted Sister, We're Not Going to Take It. Madonna, Dress You Up. Cyndi Lauper, AC/DC.
Dress You Up?
Yeah, that was on one of the... Cyndi Lauper, She Bop. That was on the 15th. Yeah, February 15th. Right. And then Venom, the Mary Jane Girls. Never heard of it. Black Sabbath. Anyway. Right. But yeah, so my number one is Like a Virgin.
All right.
To me, that you said it very well. That's one of the most 80s
songs you listen to.
You can listen to. Yeah.
That's really good. Well, my number one is honestly one of my favorite 1980s songs. Came out obviously in 84, but it could have come out anytime.
Oh.
I think it's amazing. It is Hold Me Now by the Thompson Twins.
Yep. That's good.
I love that background when the guy joins in with the high pitch. My favorite parts. When he starts doing those high extra parts, so good. They don't do it anywhere except the end of the song.
There it is.
There it is. It's so good.
Yep.
I love this song. To me, this is essential 80s listening. Yeah. This sounds like the 80s. You play this for someone, and that pop songs, a lot of other pop songs sounded like this. Mm-hmm. The synthesizer, everything's there. This hit number 3 in the U.S., but Switzerland was predictably neutral on this song as it only reached number 18. It was in the top 10 in 7 other countries. This is one of the songs that will always remind me of the 80s. Growing up during that time, it should be on every 80s playlist.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs. Like you hear it and you immediately transport yourself back to the 80s. You know exactly what was going on, what it felt like, all that stuff.
Yep.
So.
No, that's a great pick. Great pick.
Thompson Twins.
Yeah.
I love that high pitch part in the back. I wait the whole song just to hear that because they don't do it until the last 30 seconds of the song.
No.
So whoever thought of that, great producer.
Good.
Great producing on that one. So, well, those are our lists.
And we're not going to talk cutting room.
No. So
because there's so many.
Well,
so many good ones.
As I was saying, those are our lists. And I would say that if you've forgotten about how great 84 was for music, I think we gave you just a small sample.
Oh, yeah.
But you could make a hell of a playlist for you to go back and relive what music was like 40 years ago. And some of these songs still sound good today. I don't care what anybody tells me.
Yeah.
I know I have nostalgia for it, but they still sound good today. I promise you, we left so many songs off.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to have other notable 84 songs, but like I said, we had so many. I think we're going to do a part 2 at some point, and we're going to we could come up with 10 more easily.
Easy.
That I left out that I would like to highlight. So I think 84 may get another look sometime down the road.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's something to like.
Yep. That was a great list.
But you can have one. What's one song?
Gosh.
I'll give you one. What's
right.
one that you didn't make that was like, man, how could I leave that out?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
One song.
Golly. Do you have one off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
Man. Corey Hart, Sunglasses at Night.
That's a good one.
I mean,
we didn't have any Michael Jackson.
There was no Michael Jackson.
Neither of us.
Yeah, and he had a couple.
We had a couple.
Yeah.
And we had no Michael Jackson. So that didn't get there at all.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that we didn't have any, but we had a lot of other good stuff. So, and again, we mentioned earlier, Van Halen, we went with Hot for Teacher. Jump was one of the biggest songs of the year, and neither of us.
Yeah.
And I like that song. I just like Hot for Teacher better.
Yeah.
So, well, unfortunately, that brings us to the end of this episode of Totally 80s and 90s Recall. We hope you've had a rad and gnarly time looking back at our favorite hits of 1984. If you like this podcast, and we know that you do, please hit that subscribe button and share it with a friend, and head on over to Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us feedback and 5 stars, which will only help the show grow. Rob and I love hearing from our listeners, so please leave us a message on Instagram, Twitter, or our website, which are all included in the show notes. You can also email us at 80s90srecall@gmail.com with comments or show ideas you may want to hear in the future.
So what are we doing next time?
So next time, we're going to do a big spoonful of nostalgia. We're going to build a time capsule of the 1980s. We're each going to put 10 things in a time capsule to show future generations what we think the 80s looked or sounded like. So for this episode, no cuts, no honorable mentions, just a straight 10 items each, and we'll see what we come up with.
Oh, that'll be fun. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, little blast from the past.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got anything else?
I got nothing.
Fancy goodbye?
No fancy goodbye.
All right, we're out.